Today we're talking about our spooky story of the month for the month of April, which was My Sister the Serial Killer by Oyinkan Braithwaite. So like last time with Mexican Gothic, I'm going to try to avoid spoilers. I want to encourage you to check out the book on your own, but I know not everybody's reading it at the same time that I am, and I just want to be able to give you at least my overall impressions on this story. This is one of those kind of books where after starting it, I knew I had to just kind of power through and get it done, because it wasn't going to be one of those things I could let be a slow burn. I needed to get to the end because it was just that engrossing. I mean, this doesn't happen terribly often for me, but the first line of the book sold to me that I was going to be in, that I was going to dig this story. And, you know, if you've ever had to write an essay in high school or anywhere where you had to think about your opening sentence for your introduction paragraph like a hook, something that's supposed to grab people, most of us suck at it. But this is one of those few instances where it was immediately interesting, engaging, and like gives you a vibe of almost the entire story going forward. I don't know how else to explain it, but I guess for myself, I felt like it really was something that kind of gives you like an introduction to the story, so to speak. The story of My Sister the Serial Killer is told to us from the perspective of the character Corday, whose sister Ayola happens to be a serial killer. We get this vibe of this familial tie, you know, that Corday is always looking out for Ayola. Ayola is kind of the fun and fancy-free kind of person, and Corday is very much takes life very seriously, is very careful, very intelligent, and, you know, nothing was really handed to her easily, where the things that Ayola has and the kind of ways that she's been able to get through life is because of her appearance and kind of her personality. The way this book is written is there's not really just chapter numbers. It's not like you get to chapter 4, chapter 5, anything like that. It's like each chapter has a specific title that sort of informs what that chapter is going to be about very specifically. I know that's not a completely unique style of how to write a book, but I thought it was a really interesting way for this story because, you know, if you've watched enough, you know, murder mystery shows or anything like that, you get a vibe of where the story is going. And the story, you don't jump into this book because you're not sure where things are going to be going. It's more, how's it going to get there? Because almost from the beginning, you know, within the first chapter or two, you can pretty much predict how the story is going to end up, like where it's going to be, but it's the journey, you know, how they get there or what little events and everything happens, because the life that Corday lives through and Ayola is a part of and all that, and the kind of family dynamic that they have with their mother and then with, you know, friends and people in their lives and even social media to some degree, there's just a really interesting kind of push and pull because, you know, Corday is very aware of Ayola's patterns and is trying to help her, trying to protect her, but Ayola is very not careful in how she presents herself. There's things that she does that's very suspicious, and Corday kind of has to, like, you know, wrangle her in and like work things out for her constantly. Just a really interesting look at like how family looks out for family, even in difficult and sometimes less than legal situations. Overall, I thought it was really interesting because, you know, the story takes place in Lagos, Nigeria, and it just kind of gives you, obviously it's a story, but it kind of gives you this little bit of a window into perhaps some of the cultural norms of the area, of like, you know, how the family dynamic works and like, you know, reputation and, you know, the government and police officers, hospitals, things like that. There's just so many different little facets that you kind of get this little peek into, and I don't know, I was just thoroughly interested. Overall, I really enjoyed this story. I thought it was just a lot of fun. I wouldn't describe it as particularly scary or spooky because it's just, that wasn't really, I guess, the purpose of the story overall as much as it deals with murder. So, I don't know. I think if you like shows like Dexter, you know, where somebody is killing somebody else and trying to not get caught for it. I think this is right up your alley. But definitely check it out. I'm going to have links for where you can find a physical copy of the book and an audio copy, all the different things that you might need in order to read this book. I definitely think you ought to check it out. But with that, the spooky story of the month for next month, for May, is going to be Mongrels by Stephen Graham Jones, and it's the first werewolf book I've ever read. I don't know if you guys have read a werewolf book. If you have, please let me know a title, because I'm definitely interested. I feel like there are lots of vampire books, there's lots of like ghost stories, but I feel like there's not a lot of werewolf books out there. So either way, let me know if you plan to join me for reading Mongrels next month, or let me know what you thought of My Sister the Serial Killer, whether you read it this last month or read it beforehand. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it in the comment down below. On that note, just wanted to give a little heads up that I am going to be kind of dialing it back just a little bit. I've got some big plans for the summer, and I'm going to be kind of focusing on working on that. So I probably won't be uploading as frequently. I'll probably push it to the end of May, but keep an eye out for that, because it's going to take up a lot of my time, and I hope it's good. Either way, even though it's going to be, you know, a little while till the end of May, something that would help me out, maybe help you out if you're interested in this sort of thing, is you could subscribe, because that's a good way to stay on top of what's coming out here and knowing what the heck is going on during summer. And if you really want to help me out and help yourself out, then I think you should join what I'm calling the Trick or Treat crew and ring the doorbell for notifications. Anywho, I'll see you in a little bit. Until next time, stay spooky, everybody.